Well, how y'all are? It's your native Flor-xan again, and today we're talking tenderloin. Now, I picked these two up at the grocery store a little while back. They were on sale. I think I paid less than $5, and they're about 2.2 pounds. And you say, well, why is the weight important? Well, when you see what we're going to do with them, then you'll see why the weight's important. So stay tuned. So like I said, I got my two tenderloins here, and I like to kind of trim them up a little bit, get some of this fat off of here, and you'll normally find a little bit of silver skin on them right here. And I like to kind of trim that out as much as possible, because it's impossible, one, for that to render down, and then two, for seasoning to penetrate that. And the reason we want our seasoning to penetrate it is because we're going to cure these and then smoke them on the pit. I'm sure y'all have probably seen it in the stores. You can buy a cured smoked tenderloin, and one package of that is probably the cost of what I spent on both of these. So we'll cover how we do this. So again, I'm just going to trim off some of this, get that silver skin off, get that unwanted fat. That way that cure can penetrate into that meat. But you don't want to really take everything off of it. You want to leave kind of a little bit on there. I just try to get mainly that silver skin and any heavy chunks that I don't want to eat myself personally. If you like eating it, leave it on there. Ain't nothing going to hurt you. But I like to take it off because I don't like eating big old chunks of fat. So we'll go from this. I'll show you how I make my brine, so stay tuned. Alright, so now we're going to make our brine, and what I like to use, you can do this, mix your brine in a bowl, put everything in a Ziploc bag, and then put it in the fridge. But I got these briner bowls here that I really like, because one, I can make my brine in the bowl and then put my meat in there. It's got this cool little deal that you stick it down in the bowl and twist it, and it'll lock and hold your meat into your brine. Sometimes when you put meat in a bowl, it tries to float up, and so part of the meat sticks out. This keeps that from happening, and then it's got a lid on it. I can put it in the fridge and let it run like that. So we're going to get started on this brine, and it starts with hot water. I just use regular tap water. My tap water here in my downstairs is pretty hot, and so I'm going to start out with some of that. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of some sea salt and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And then we're going to talk about the curing salt here in a minute. Alright, so I got my 1/4 cup of brown sugar in there. There's my 1/4 cup sea salt we're going to put in there. I'm just going to kind of stir this around in that hot water and let it dissolve. And you want it to completely dissolve. Now, if you want to add any other seasonings to it or whatever, you're more than welcome to, but I generally save that for when I'm going to cook it on the pit. I'll add a little seasoning to the outside. Now, on your curing salt, they recommend only about 1 teaspoon per 5 pounds of meat. And this is where I was saying that we got 2.2 pounds of meat, which, 2.5 pounds would be a 1/2 teaspoon. I like to go a little bit less than that, so I'm just going to kind of go with a 1/4 teaspoon of curing salt, just a tad over that, because if you overload it, you can make people sick. So you got to be precise in your measurements as best as you can. This is the method that I've been using, and so far, so good. I haven't made anybody sick. We're going to stir that around a little bit, and then what we're going to do is add ice to it. We want to cool that brine down. So we're going to add some ice in there. stir that around a little bit as well. Kind of let that ice dissolve. Make sure we get this brine cooled down real good. So we got our brine cooled down. It's about as cold as that ice. So we're just going to go ahead and place them tenderloins in there. Make sure they're kind of got a little bit of space. And like I said, these bowls that I use has this lid that kind of locks down in there to keep your meat in the brine. So we'll put the lid on it, put it in the fridge. I'll recommend, 7 to 10 days, let it soak up that brine, and then pull it out and do what you're going to do to put it on the pit. So what I got here is the tenderloins coming out of the brine, and so what I'm going to do is take them out of the brine and just kind of rinse them off in a little cool water. And I got a pan here with some paper towel here just to kind of dry them back off. You'll notice after they brine, that meat is a little firmer than what it was when you put it in there. All I'm going to do to these, got some Suckle Busters honey barbecue rub. I like this when I want something with a little sweetness to it, and I've come to really like this seasoning. I've used it on ribs, I've used it on some pulled pork and things like that, and I really like this seasoning. So I think I've been buying it at either Buc-ee's or H-E-B, I can't remember, but try it out. I bet you'll like it. We're just going to season these dudes up and then get them on to the pit. See you there. Alright, so we got a cured tenderloin here. We'll go ahead and put them on the pit and let them run. So our tenderloins have been going for a couple hours now. We're going to do a temperature check on them. I've turned them a couple of times. They're between 145 and 150. So we're going to let them run a little bit longer just to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. And then we'll take them off, let them cool, and cut them up. Alright, so I think they're done. Temp it at about 160 or so. Let these cool, and after they cool down, we'll slice them up and we'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so they've cooled down a bit. We'll go ahead and slice them up so you can see what they look like. So much like when you cure corned beef or pastrami, get that kind of pinkish color from the curing salt. Now I know I cooked this, a lot of people would say, well, 160, that's too done, it's going to be dry and so on and so forth. But in all honesty, brining it the way we did, I don't know if y'all can see that, but there's still a lot of moisture in that meat right there. Give her a taste. It's good. Flavor's on time. and the meat's real good and tender. So if you've never tried this before or never done it before, give it a shot. All it takes is a little bit of time, having to wait the 7 to 10 days to let it cure out, and then a couple hours of smoking. Again, I run 250 on the smoker, using just a pellet smoker. It's got a good smoke flavor to it, but just this much right here, you would spend more than the $5 I spent on both these tenderloins. So give it a shot. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and that way you'll get alerts whenever I post something. And more importantly, hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Thank y'all, and we'll see you next time.